everyone. Here we are at the Lausitzring. Welcome to the DTM season 2022, and we're here in Germany. We're absolutely thrilled. It's the second race weekend of the new season, and it's so exciting. We've got 29 cars, 14 teams, and it is thrilling. We've got, of course, a lot of fans here at the track. We've got plenty of sunshine, even though we had a very stormy night. But now it's still a bit windy, but I'm sure it's going to be dry. And the man who's leading the championship is Mirko Bortolotti. And yeah, he was third twice in a row in Portimao and won pole position, and that makes him the leader of the championship at the moment. But as we said, it's only the second race weekend of the season, so from here anything is possible. The fact is, we are getting ready for qualifying, and we're absolutely excited. So hold on tight, and now here's your commentator.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Morning, everybody. Chris Hartley here in the Commons box at the top of this massive grandstand that overlooks the start-finish line and the garages of this vast complex at the Lausitzring. And the cars, the drivers, in about 3.5 minutes' time will be heading out for 20 minutes of qualifying to set the grid for the first race of the weekend. Tomorrow, another 20 minutes of qualifying and another race. It's rounds 3 and 4 of DTM 2022 coming up. And as Verena said, it was stormy last night. I'm staying in Dresden, which is about 35 minutes drive away from here, and we just got our meal finished in time last night, eating outside a nice Italian restaurant, and then lightning, thunder, it all kicked off at around about 10:30 last night. So very hot day, very humid day yesterday for the 2 free practice sessions. It was 26 degrees air temperature. The track temperature crept up to 40 degrees at one point, but the air has now cleared. The track is green. We have had a couple of sessions this morning for the support series. However, all the grip, all the rubber that was laid down during the free practice sessions yesterday has been washed away by the overnight rain, which continued on, the stormy rain and weather into the early hours of the morning. And the air temperature is a lot cooler as well. It's 17 degrees. Track temperature is actually still pretty high at 30.6 degrees. There are blue skies, but lots of white clouds dotted around, but it is almost certainly going to be a dry day today. And the other key factor weather-wise is that it's windy today, and that could be very interesting for the drivers when they head into the first corner here. It's a tri-oval circuit. It was built for IndyCar racing initially back in 2000, or kart series as it was then called, used for 3 seasons in that type of racing. So it's not an oval circuit, but a tri-oval circuit with 3 very quick corners, and they use part of the circuit, part of the outer oval circuit for the DTM races, and then use the infield section in the middle of the lap. But since last year, they've taken turn 1, the banking, which they never used to take. They used to cut off before it, and they go through turn 1 at almost top speed. There's just a light lift going into it. They go in 5th gear. They go through this banked corner with a wall just centimetres to their right. They go into the corner at 260 kilometres an hour. They're 235 kilometres an hour mid-corner, and back to 260 when they get out of the corner. It is a real hold-your-breath moment through there, through the banking at turn 1. Turn 1, powered by Auto Hero, is going to be absolutely huge today. And qualifying and wind, and those cars being blown around, that is going to be very, very tricky for the drivers. So we'll see how the track times compare to yesterday. There's Arjun Maini, who's carrying one of the onboard cameras this weekend. Driver already at the end of his first season of DTM last year at the Lausitzring scored his first podium. He's the only Indian driver ever to race in the DTM. Podium finisher now, and he's a driver that impressed here, although the races didn't go well for him last year. It was his second ever weekend in DTM, and he was up there in the top 6 in free practice. He pushed well in qualifying, but the races didn't come to him. But he's clearly a brave driver, Arjun Maini, one of the drivers able to keep his foot in through turn 1, and he was quick. As I say, bad luck in the races, but I think he'll go well here today. And there is Maximilian Guts, the reigning champion, who scored his first ever win in the DTM here at the Lausitzring 12 months ago. Wins 2 and 3 came in that dramatic season finale at the Lausitzring, and that was enough with the consistency that he had last year and the podium finishes that he had to take him to the championship title. But consistency, I think, will be absolutely critical again this season. 29-car record field, huge talent in the field this year as well as the session goes live. And it's going to be one of those seasons where I think we get lots of different drivers on the top step of the podium, lots of different drivers each weekend and each race almost within a weekend scoring points. Maro Engel has said on his return to DTM for the first time since 2017. He said, I won't be surprised if there are weekends where you are, even if you're one of the quickest drivers in one of the quickest teams, you struggle sometimes just to get into the points. That's the level of quality of competition that we've got in DTM this year. So Mirko Bortolotti had that consistency at Portimao. As Verena said, 2 podium finishes, the only driver to walk away from Portugal with 2 podium finishes, and only 6 drivers in the field managed to score points in both races. Nico Muller won race 2, but he had a DNF in race number 1, yet he's still second in the championship despite only scoring points in half of the weekend. Similar story for Lucas Auer, won race 1, didn't finish race 2. That was because of a wheel gun failure in his pit stop, and the wheel didn't get mounted correctly after his pit stop in race 1. And there were all sorts of tales like that throughout the course of the field. Even Mirko Bortolotti could claim that 2 third places could have been better because he was on course for a race victory in race 1 in the Grasso Racing Team Lamborghini. Had a big old advantage. Then, ironically, it was his teammate Rolf Finishing had a problem with his car, stopped at the side of the track. Safety car came out, and on the restart, the Lamborghini faltered off the line. He dropped from 1st to 7th very briefly, fought his way back up. Great battle with Maro Engel to get eventually, on the last lap of the race, back into the top 3. There's Nico Muller.
Turn 8 now.
Getting ready to go. The team radio you heard was from Marco Wittmann. The onboard is Nico Muller.
Our plan, as discussed, we go out mid of the session. New tires, new brakes, setup changes as discussed.
Setup changes as discussed. Interesting.
But the windscreen, man, it looks horrendous. We have to make such things.
I've got a great car, but could you please clean the windscreen so I can see where I'm going? Especially with the sun shining at certain points right into the eyes of the drivers. There is Nico's car, winner of race 2. It's first win for a year. Team Rosberg have worked hard over the winter. A much more in-depth pre-season testing program than they had going into the 2021 season. So yesterday in free practice, Nico Muller was quickest in free practice 1 with a 1 minute 32.249. Laurens van Teur and the SSR Performance Porsche traded times with him, and Shelton Van Der Linde was 3rd quickest in free practice 1. David Schumacher was one of the drivers that went consistently well yesterday, and was at one point running in 6th place in free practice 2. Remember, he's completely new to DTM, to GT3 racing. There he is at the back of the garage. I had a quick word with him yesterday at the end of the day. I said, oh, well done, you did pretty well yesterday. You enjoy the track? He said, no, I hate it. I absolutely hate this track. It's too bumpy. Turn 1 I don't like. So given that he really doesn't like the place, I think he was did a pretty good job to be 11th quickest in free practice 1. Free practice 2 was slightly quicker. Marco Wittmann was quickest in free practice 2 yesterday, 1 minute 32.035. Shelton Van Der Linde 2nd, but the car stopped out on track with about 15 minutes to go and had to be towed back to the garage. And Dennis Olsen, the other SSR Performance Porsche, who was 4th in session 1, was 3rd in session 2. So 1:32.035 was the quickest lap yesterday, but pole position last year, 1 minute 30.5 in the first qualifying session. That was on the Saturday. That was Shelton Van Der Linde. He beat his brother, Kelvin Van Der Linde, to pole last year by just 27 thousandths of a second. And then in the second qualifying session on Sunday last year, it was even quicker, 1 minute 30.292. So 1.1 seconds quicker than the fastest times we saw yesterday in free practice. No doubt they will have the tyres to go quicker in this one. They get 4 sets now. Of new tyres, new Michelin tyres to last the course of the weekend. They have to use one of those sets, though, in free practice. So coming into qualifying, at best, they've got 3 sets of Michelin tyres brand new. They've got to make the last 2 qualifying sessions and 2 races. Sector times, you will see the sector split times. Just to give you an inkling, yesterday, sector 1, 19.3 seconds was the best, Shelton Van Der Linde. We've had a 19.02 already, look, by Esteban Moot. So we're already looking at potentially going much quicker than yesterday. Second sector fastest time was a 37.9. We just had a 37.8 from Grenier, who set the best time in sector 2 yesterday. And sector 3, 33.959. So already, I suspect we're going to be seeing the cars into the 131s for the first time when these laps are completed for Grenier and Moot. So far, nobody set a flying time, but they are about to come through. Grenier will cross the line first. He's just making his way out of turn 10, back onto the tri-oval banking, and the Canadian, the Mercedes, goes 131.466. But what about Esteban Mutin, the Volkenhorst BMW? He's also had a good lap here on his first try, 131.86 for him. So they're the quickest two. Straight out of the traps, we're already much quicker than yesterday. Ricardo Feller, 131.645 as well, splits them. And Philippe Eng, although not as quick in the first sector, has made up all the time in the twisty bits in the infield. So overall, he gets the best time of the session in so far. Early days, but provisional pole for Philippe with a 131.182. Still, though, way away from last year's pole time on Sunday, which was a 130.292. A replay of running out wide there, the SSR Performance Porsche of Laurens van Tour, who traded fastest times in free practice yesterday with Nico Muller, kicking up the gravel trap. The first sector of the lap is the shortest. It's just over 19 seconds long, just over 1.37 kilometres, and takes in turn 1, and the run down into turn 2 ends just before you get to turn 2. The longest sector is sector 2. That's 1.8 kilometres of the 4.6 kilometre long circuit. And sector 3, which takes in the last twisty section through turns 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. That is 1.42 kilometres long. It doesn't take as long to get through as sector 2. Right, Engel on a quick lap. Lucas Auer, absolute best in the second sector. Tommy Preining has put himself into 7th place. Maro Engel, 131.04, won the time to beat. But Lucas Auer, 130.695. So the race 1 winner at Portimao goes to the top of the times and is the first driver into the 130s now. Still 4 tenths away from Philip Ellis's win with Mercedes pole of Sunday last year, but there's more to come, you suspect. Also into the 130s is Lukas Stoltz, the quiet man of the DTM, a very, very quick driver, but he's put quite quickly down to 3rd place because Sheldon Van Der Linde, who's been up there all weekend long for Schubert Motorsport, goes 2nd quickest with a 130.947. Lucas Auer's on another quick lap. Personal best through sector 1 of 19.28 seconds. Arjun Maini into 4th place in the HRT Mercedes. So just behind his HRT teammate, Lukas Stoltz, who you're looking at now. Luca had a guest weekend in the championship last year, but into the series for the first time this season with Hubert Haupt's team, HRT, that yellow and blue Mercedes, the one that Vincent Abril raced last year with some degrees of success, particularly at Monza. Lucas Auer, absolute best in the middle sector, so Lucas about to go even quicker than he's already gone. He's on provisional pole already with a 1 minute 30.695. If you can hold it together through the last sector, the slow chicane sector at turns 8 and 9, taken in 2nd gear. Get the good exit coming out of turn 10, which is critical, then he'll be there. And we might be about to see another quick lap. Right, here comes Lugi in the blue and white Mercedes. Next one over the line. Can he beat his own 130.695? No, not quite, 130.83. That's still quick enough for pole position, that lap. He's got the quickest 2 laps of the session already. Ricardo Feller is on a personal best lap as well. 6th place for him, 1 minute 31.14. Arjun Maini also going well on this lap, although he's lost a bit of time in the middle sector. He's still got a chance here of improving his own position, which is 4th currently. But 2.5 tenths of a second between Lucas Auer and the next best driver, which is Sheldon Van Der Linde, who was on pole position here last year. So we know he likes the circuit. The Schubert BMW has been quick so far this season. And there is Ricardo Feller, newcomer to DTM, but still a young driver. He's picked up plenty of GT experience over the last few years. Shelton Van Der Linde is headed into the pits. He's 2nd quickest. Arjun Maini 4th quickest. Maro Engel 5th quickest. And Philip Eng 7th quickest, all in the pits. So too Marco Wittmann 9th quickest. About half of the top 10 are still out there. And we're already into the second half of the session. We didn't see blisteringly quick lap times at all from either of the Ferraris yesterday. Nick Cassidy having his first run in DTM this season. He had to miss the first round at Portimao due to his Formula E commitments. Well, this is his 2nd weekend in DTM, the New Zealander, who raced against the likes of Lance Stroll and George Russell when he was in the FIA European Formula 3 Championship a few years ago. Former Japanese F3 champion, Super GT champion Nick Cassidy, trying to get the most out of the Ferrari, but 18th place at the moment for him. His teammate, Felipe Farraga, the former Brazilian stock car champion, 10th place. First time either of the Ferraris have been in the top 10 over the session so far. 2 free practices yesterday. They just weren't on the outright pace, whether they were trying to be or not. Who knows? They might have just been setting up for the race.
I was like a bit in traffic in front of fighting and the Bortolotti guys.
Okay. Also, Luki did it on the second push, just for your info.
Yep, there's the information for the reigning champion who's moved to Team Winward this year, the Mercedes driver Maximilian Guts. Just for your information, one of your teammates, Lucas Auer, got his quickest lap on his second push. His third lap was quick as well, wasn't it? So the tyres are holding up for more than just the one lap. Lucas Auer, quickest.
Behind you, Smith. Okay, now he's pitting.
Muller out for the first time. He hasn't set a lap yet.
Okay, Nico, take it very easy, very easy. We need to save tires, very easy on this first out lap.
And that's the other driver that hasn't been out and set a lap time yet, David Schumacher, who's the third of the Team Winward drivers. His teammate, Lucas Auer, is on provisional pole position at the moment. So we saw that tactic from Mirko Bortolotti in one of the qualifying sessions at Portimao. Not going out for the first half of the session. You don't give yourself much time, but he has got an empty track now. Now he's got an empty track, but by the time he gets back to the start-finish line, what if they all start coming out of the pits in front of him? That could be an issue. So it's a bit of a risk, but stone last at the moment is Nico Muller. Out on the track, the only one on the 4.6 kilometre long Lausitzring circuit. So Lucas Auer quickest with just under 8 minutes to go for Mercedes AMG Team Winward. 1 minute 30.695. He's a quarter of a second up on Shelton Van Der Linde in the Schubert Motorsport BMW. He's only 27 thousandths quicker than Lucas Stoltz, who is third for Mercedes AMG Team HRT. His teammate Arjun Maini in an excellent fourth place at the moment. Maro Engel, another Mercedes for Team Gruppa M Racing this time. He's in 5th place. Ricardo Feller for AB Sportsline is the best of the Audis in 6th place. Nico Muller and René Rast have both said the Audi isn't as quick as some of the other cars in a straight line. Hasn't quite got the horsepower, so they won't be as well adept to cope with turn 1 and the tri-oval part of the course. But in the infield, the car is well balanced through the corners. Not as well balanced through high-speed corners, though, René Rast was saying. So it's interesting to see how the Audis go here. Although Nico Muller said Portimao wasn't best suited to their cars because that's got long straights as well, and he still managed to get a win there in race 2. So David Schumacher still not to go out on the track, and we've only got 6 minutes 52 seconds left to go now. Arjun Maini had 2 third-place finishes in qualifying last year, one at the Red Bull Ring and one at Hockenheim, so it's not on course for his best ever qualifying, but one of his best at the moment. In 4th place there, though, is the driver that topped the times.
Okay, engine on, Luki. Engine on.
So 247.6 kilometres an hour, top performance into turn 1, powered by Auto Hero. The absolute top speed that we had yesterday through the quick speed trap in free practice 2, 272 kilometres an hour, set by Sheldon Van Der Linde in free practice 1 and fellow BMW driver Marco Wittmann in free practice 2. So his car's hitting 272 kilometres an hour yesterday, which is just about 170 miles an hour. Not bad. Super slow-mo then of Lucas Auer. Can he hold on to this for the second half of the session? He's got a big advantage in DTM terms, looking for what would be his 11th career pole.
White line on the pit exit. At the moment, turn 1 is clear.
Yeah, a good crowd gathered on the roofs of the garages. Got one of the garages open so you can see through into the adjacent garages, looking at the teams working on the cars. One of the features of DTM as the fans get close to the action. On board with Sheldon Van Der Linde then. He's got to find a quarter of a second from somewhere, but he's probably a bit more worried about holding onto the front row of the grid. He's only 27 thousandths clear of Lucas Stoltz. He's only 40 thousandths of a second clear of Arjun Maini. Arjun is only 54 thousandths of a second clear of Maro Engel in 5th place. So it's incredibly tight from 2nd down to 5th place. Mirko Bortolotti, yet to go out in this part of the session, is back in 16th place at the moment, the championship leader. And there is Esme Hawkey, the sponsorship livery on the all-black Lamborghini this weekend, in her 2nd season in DTM. running once again with Jens Voigt's T3 Motorsport team, one of the local teams. They are from Dresden, just about 50 kilometres away. So this their home circuit. Got, I think, 50 guests here this weekend. T3 Motorsport. Nicky Tim, their other driver, with vast amounts of GT experience and championship titles to his name, will be a strong driver this weekend. Right, Nico Muller starting to push, but not yet. Look, 24 seconds. Yes, it's a personal best through sector 1, but it's 5 seconds off the pace through sector 1, so he's really leaving this late. 4 minutes 13 seconds to go. It's almost going to be 2 laps and done, and he'll hope that he doesn't get any traffic. It's going to be absolutely critical. Still nobody setting green sector times, personal best. Nobody setting purple sector times, absolute best. 4 minutes to go. Is it all going to go down to the wire? Is that track gripping up as the session goes on as well? Should do. Yeah, you're on telly. Loving it here. The fans really starting to fill this place out now. Not that you can ever fill this place out, because you could get 120,000 people in here if you filled all the grandstands. The main grandstand over the start-finish line alone holds 25,000 people. It's an enormous structure. Right, Marco Wittmann, Arjun Maini coming through shot, still building up the speed. Nico Muller should be up to speed now. He's been out for a couple of laps. Now he pulls the trigger, coming out of turn 10 then, and firing it up, ready for maybe 2 quick laps, maybe 3. All or nothing then for him, Nico Muller. And David Schumacher likewise yet to post a competitive time. Let's ride on board with him as he heads into turn 1, powered by Auto Hero at just under 260 kilometres an hour. Look at the rear wing shaking around, bumps through the circuit as well. He flings it out wide, flashes the lights. Get out of my way, he says, as he comes past Lucas Stoltz. He'll wait for the 200-metre board before he hits the brakes on the way into the 3rd gear left-right sequence at turns 2 and 3. He'll stay in 3rd for the left-hander at turn 4. Clips the curb on the way through, and then up one of the straights through the infield towards turn 5, which will be another 3rd gear corner. 19.55 seconds is okay. It'll be the 2nd lap, I think, with the one he'll really want to push on. That's where the tyres will be at their peak. But you saw how careful he was as he goes through the right-hander at turn 5 in terms of building up that speed. Marco Wittmann on a personal best lap here, looking to get back into the top 10 if he can. 19.35 and a 37.9. Pretty good for Marco, the 2014-2016 champion. Where's this going to put him? He's 9th at the moment. And about to come through, crosses the line, stays 9th. 131.4, 2 minutes to go. Lots of drivers setting personal best lap times, and an absolute best in the 2nd sector for Michael Grenier, but he's a couple of tenths down in the 1st sector. But we saw that yesterday. Doesn't matter so much if you're down in the 1st sector. If you're quick through the longer sectors 2 and 3, you can still be quickest overall. Maro Engel, absolute best in sector 2. Nico Muller completes his 1st real lap of the session, puts him 13th, 1 minute 31.47. He's just about got time for 2 more laps in this if he wants, because he should get back to the start-finish line with around about 3 seconds left on the clock. Maro Engel, absolute best in the 2nd sector then, looking to get himself higher than 5th on the grid. And the number 88 Mercedes wait for him to come through. Number Schumacher on to a lap as well. Everybody back out onto the circuit. Here we go. Engel over the line, still 5th. Backed off in the last sector, so I'll have 1 more push lap. He's on his final lap of the session now. Lucas Stoltz under investigation for crossing the white line at the pit exit, it says on the screen, so that's something that will be looked at later. And there, Maro Engel. We've got Shelton Van Der Linde on personal best in sector 2. And here he is. Look how close to the wall he gets as he comes out of that final turn. Take a wide entry into that. Get on the gas ASAP and hit the throttle. Headed for the line. Is this going to be enough to challenge for pole position? 130.73. It's his best lap of the session, but 83 thousandths of a second away from Lucas Auer, who holds on to pole position. Big effort that was, though, for that pole from Sheldon Van Der Linde, the South African. 83 thousandths of a second adrift, but he's got 1 more lap. He crossed the line with 25 seconds to go. It's Auer, Sheldon Van Der Linde, Lucas Stoltz the top 3, Arjun Maini still 4th, Maro Engel 5th, Philip Engin 6th, Feller, Cassidy, Guts and Olsen rounding out the top 10. Muller going into 11th place, crosses the line with 4 seconds to go. So Muller's 2nd flying lap does a 131.3. 11th is way better than last, but it's not quite where he wants to be. Checkered flag is out. Everybody finishing the lap then. This is their last run through. What about the Ferrari of Felipe Fraga? He goes third quickest right at the end of the session. 1 minute 30.97 seconds. And Bortolotti left it late, but he's got himself into the top 10. The championship leader in the Lamborghini goes ninth quickest. Sheldon Van Der Linde has done 2 personal best sectors. Lucas Auer's pole position time is under threat here from the BMW driver, who's got about 20 seconds to go before he crosses the line. So we wait for Sheldon Van Der Linde heading into the final turn. Can he get himself on pole? He's dropped off the front row of the grid now because Maro Engel has got ahead of him for second place. 83 thousandths of a second between the top 3. It's Auer, Engel and this man, Sheldon Van Der Linde. Duck for the line. Does he do it? He crosses the line. He gets back onto the front row, but it's not pole position. 1 minute 30.67 seconds. What an effort from him. But by 25 thousandths of a second, he misses out on pole position to Lucas Auer. He got pole position last year by 27 thousandths of a second, so he's on the other end of a tiny margin this year. But it's still a great effort. It's good to see him up there after what was a really tough and really unlucky year for Sheldon Van Der Linde in 2021. Lucas Stoltz looking to improve. He's one of the last to cross the line and gets himself 4th place, 1 minute 30.8. So Felipe Fraga, who was 3rd when he crossed the line, ends up back in 5th place. It is an 11th career pole position, though, in the DTM for Lucas Auer. He said coming in the lead up to this race, we'll see who the one-hit wonders are, because Portimao is a very different type of circuit to the Lausitzring, and some drivers, some cars might have gone well there, but they might not go quite so well at the Lausitzring. Well, he's gone well at both tracks. Auer in that first session, enough that lap time to get in the pole position, but not by very much, Lugi. It was tight. 67 thousandths of a second covering the top 3 in the first qualifying session of the weekend here at the Lausitzring. So there you go, Lucas Auer for Mercedes-AMG Team Winward on pole position by 25 thousandths of a second. Sheldon Van Der Linde in the Schubert Motorsport BMW 130.679, 25 thousandths of a second away. That's a quarter of a hundredth of a second. Maro Engel for Mercedes-AMG Team Grubber M Racing 130.721, almost matched their time as well. And then Lucas Stoltz 4th, Felipe Fraga 5th, Arjun Maini in 6th place, Philip Eng 7th, Ricardo Feller 8th, Mirko Bortolotti, the championship leader, in 9th, René Rast, the 3-time returning champion, in 10th place, Dennis Olsen 11th, Nick Cassidy 12th, Maximilian Guts 13th, Nico Muller 2nd in the championship, only 14th place in the end. So some super slow-mos of our top 3 from qualifying 1 here at the Lausitzring. Maro Engel, 1 minute 30.721 seconds. Can he score his 2nd DTM career victory, in the first for him in this new era of cars? Sheldon Van Der Linde, not quite the pole position from last year, but if he doesn't qualify as well and the result is better in the race, that will do nicely. Lucas Auer, though, that looks a real solid bet for a championship contender this year. Winner in race 1 at Portimao, unlucky in race 2 when he looked like he was going to score good points even with the success ballast on board. And here he is again, fighting hard. He said at the start of the year, if I can start the year like I ended last year, I'll be happy, because he was really on form at the end of 2021 and has adapted brilliantly to these GT3 cars, of which he had no real massive amount of prior experience, and been a Class 1 DTM racer for all those years. So there then the top 3, the tall Sheldon Van Der Linde just takes his helmet off now, and he's surrounded by Mercedes for the start grid. Mercedes 1st, 3rd and 4th. BMW in 2nd place. The best Ferrari, Felipe Fraga, in 5th, impressing once again. The best Audi, Ricardo Feller, in 8th place. The best Lamborghini, Mirko Bortolotti, championship leader, qualifying in 9th place. That's also worth pointing out. That's 3 championship points going to Lucas Auer for qualifying on pole position. So that will move him ahead of Nico Muller up to 2nd place in the championship. He gets 3 points. That puts him on 29. He's got 1 more point now than Nico Muller, so he moves up to 2nd place in the championship before we even turn a wheel in anger in the race. Sheldon Van Der Linde will score 2 championship points, and now he was one of several drivers tied on 10 points, so that'll move it up to the same number of points as Marco Wittmann. Marco Wittmann and Shelton Van Der Linde will be tied for 7th in the championship now on 12 points apiece. And Maro Engel will pick up a point to add to the 2 that he scored for 2 10th place finishes in the first weekend of the season 3 weeks ago at Portimao. Did finish 4th in one race, but got a time penalty for a pit lane infringement, which dropped him back from 4th to 10th. So super slow-mos of the cars out on this 4.6 kilometre long Lausitzring circuit. It was a venture into the unknown, really, because the conditions were completely different to yesterday in terms of the track temperature, the wind, and the rain that came, and of course all on the quicker tyres today. Right, let's hear from some of our drivers. Verena is with them down in the pit lane.
I've got the man who's in P2, that's Sheldon Van Der Linde. Good job you did, but I bet your brother is a little bit disappointed, because I heard that he bet that you would be on pole position.
This is true, yes. He put a lot of pressure on me before the start, obviously, which is always good. To be honest, I thought it was really in it today, but I just had a bit too much understeer in qualifying, and also I was pretty much on target for pole in the last lap, but then I understeered slightly in the last corner and I just missed the exit, so it was very close. I mean, well done to Luki. I think he pulled it out of pretty much nowhere from yesterday. He struggled a bit more than I did, so I was pretty confident, but I mean, still P2 is a great start. Obviously, it's not so easy to start from P2. Normally when you're next to someone, you never really know when to judge, but luckily we have a different start procedure this year, so it should help me as well.
And hey, learning from mistakes, it means you can do everything right for the race, and then from P2 to victory, why not?
Absolutely. I mean, my qualifying has always been very strong this year, but now it's the next step of staying there in the race. We need to score big points in this year when you really can and when the car's competitive. So I think we have a good chance this weekend to get on the podium and hopefully see you a bit later on.
All right, you do that.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Thank you so much. And we've got Maro right here as well. And Maro, who is in P3. Hey, Maro, good to have you back in the DTM. And it's looking very good at Lausitzring. I mean, starting from P3. So what are your hopes for the race?
Yeah, it was a tight qualifying as we expected. Good qualifying, thanks to the guys. They gave me a great car. Wasn't quite enough to get Lugi, but it's a good place to race from.
And I guess a good feeling for the race, right?
Yeah, for sure. Happy. What was great? This morning I came to the circuit. There was a traffic jam getting into the circuit, so great to see so many people here and great atmosphere.
All right, well, fantastic, and good luck for the race. Thank you so much, Maro. And let's try to grab Luki. There he is. Sorry, we need to grab Lucas, steal him away from the other interview. Congratulations. I mean, Luki, so far this season, everything's looking really good. You had a win in Portimao just a few weeks ago and now starting in pole position. So how about another victory here at Lausitzring?
Wouldn't sound so bad, but it will be a tough and long race. Our qualifying is very critical in DTM, and we have the best position. Wind has changed a lot, temperatures are a lot lower. So it was a tough qualifying session. I guess everybody had to adapt. But very good.
All right, well, best of luck. Thank you so much, Luki. And now here's your commentator.
Thanks very much, Verena. Lucas Sauer then, who scored his first ever DTM race victory here in 2016 with another local team, Muka Motorsport, based in Berlin. With him, he raced in Formula 3, so he's done lots of miles around here. Several race victories as well for Lucas Sauer, and that valuable 3 points. And Sheldon Van Der Linde, as he said, is qualifying well this year. Sheldon's had a 7th, a 4th, and now a 2nd in qualifying. So he's looking for another pole position. And Maro Engel has never had a pole position in DTM. It was only a few thousandths of a second away in that session. But it wasn't quite enough to get him onto the front row of the grid in the end. Tiny margins, as Sheldon Van Der Linde said, with him coming through. So there, Lucas Sauer going to be on pole position. We can hand back now, though, to Verena down in the pits.
All right, so that was the first qualifying here at the Lausitzring, and of course now we're looking forward to a very exciting race later on. You don't want to miss it, that's for sure. So see you later. Now here are the highlights. Do enjoy. Bye-bye.